If you're lost, you can look and you will find us, the QueerCentric, with your host, Queer's Jonny.
Hello and welcome to the QueerCentric. That must mean it's Tuesday, since that's the day this drops. I've missed everybody a lot. I have been a very busy man, and so the schedule has been kind of nonstop. And it's nice to have a break. I will say, we're going to talk to a special guest a little later, and was that the last thing I did? And what a great night. If you guys don't remember, Spokane AIDS Network did their Red Ribbon Gala. They haven't done it for 6 years. And actually, the last time they did it, I hosted. So it was kind of fun. I just put up a picture of Novocaine and I. We look like an old married couple, so I made up a backstory. So this lovely couple has been married for 32 years, but they still like to dress up and go out on the town. I mean, they have their little side affairs, but they know together they will conquer the world. So they keep going. So there, Nova, I make her read all my stuff. But it was a lot of fun. Just because the big fundraiser is over does not mean you are not welcome to support an organization like Spokane AIDS Network. So I would check them out. They have a website, and also check them out on Facebook. And Grant Ogren was just on the show. This is the stuff. We're going to talk a little about this, but this is the stuff we support in the community, because it's one thing to say, we really like that, and then do nothing. And then you get mad when those things disappear. We have to at least, and you listen, not all of us, maybe you don't have the money. It's not all about money. There are different ways to support the people in your community. So anyways, glad to be back on the mic. Glad to be back in the studio. I do want to remind everybody, you can go to patreon.com/thequeercentric if you would like to support us. And if you do, we have lots of fun swag, I guess. And the two things people love the most is we have our little QueerCentric t-shirts that people enjoy. And then there's a new t-shirt. So we're releasing new designs kind of a little at a time. You can either buy them outright, or you're welcome to give us like $2 a month, and then we'll give you a free t-shirt. I mean, that's how cheap we are. Little cheap whores in this world. And I want to say the new one is what everybody's talking about since the sex show, which is Sexually Magnificent. Thank you to Barb Sylvie, a retired school teacher, who she sent in a question. The question was answered by our therapist, Damon L. Jacobs, and he came up with this amazing, I love that you two over here are so enthralled in this conversation. But do you remember? Oh, yeah. So that design that we promised you, and that Barb right away was like, this is my t-shirt size, Sexually Magnificent, Damon L. Jacobs. I want that to be his new book that he needs to write. But anyways, you can get that t-shirt. You can get the QueerCentric t-shirt, lots of things, patreon.com/thequeercentric. We have 10 designs. We do? I know there's a bear design for my fellow bears, and it takes a whole lot of man to look this good. And I mean, I'm here to tell you, that's true. That's true. So lots of fun things coming, so keep your eye out for those things. And then, as we reminded you, Pride is like a sneeze away. Like, we look at it and we're like, oh, that's like 2 months. You will blink, Pride will be here. So be sure to support Pride. We had the largest crowd we've ever had in Spokane at this last year's Pride. QueerCentric's going to be there and super loud as always. So we look forward to meeting all of you people. Last but not least, you know that we also have a digital magazine that's on the QueerCentric.com. And we have allowed Kurt, the Curter, to write. He's writing again. It's scary for everyone, but it's going well. And he just reviewed a new Deku, which is it's a streaming service. They have a new sitcom, basically, called Marriage of Inconvenience. It's absolutely hilarious. We support the writer and the lead actor so much, and we're excited because he's going to be on our show. But it comes out at the end of the month. We've got to see it. So go check out Kurt's interview on the QueerCentric.com. Show Kurt some love. He does get to interview the creator and writer and star Jason T. Gaffney. And so he'll be on the show like not very long from now at all. We're just making that arrangement now. So remember, we're always doing things here. Please follow us, go to our website, go to all of the socials. Now that the business is taken care of, I have a very special guest. We've been talking for a few months, couple months maybe.
I would say, a couple months. Yeah, absolutely.
About something that's, I will say, I like guests that take initiative. And, I'm a control freak, it's true, but I really enjoy this collaboration. So I reached out to you, said, hey, what do you think about coming to this show? And you said, well, let's talk about what subjects are we looking at?
Absolutely, yes.
And so it was a conversation already. Yeah. So let's start with first, why don't you tell us your name and then whatever you want to say about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Well, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have a fun and substantive discussion just about us as gays in the community, queers in the community. It's great. My name is Ryan Lewis.
Yes,
from Spokane.
Important. Your face will be on this, so they'll see it.
Great. Well, wonderful. Good. We like publicity.
We do.
But no, good publicity. Any publicity
exactly.
is good publicity.
That's what they say.
So yes. Well, sure. Spokane, Washington. I'm in the real estate industry here in Spokane. I'm happy to be a part of that and part of a minority. I'm truly proud to be a minority in that industry. Right. I don't let it define me, but it is a part of me, and that's something that's important to remember. Just as we all, try and climb the ladder in professional business, allow it to be a part of you, but don't let it define you.
Exactly, and there's no part of us. I think that way as well. There's no part of us, I think, that has shame to it, but just let me be a human. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to do that. We all have similar, goals in life, and my passion is media, and my passion is making, reaching out to people, making them understand that we're all just people trying to get by. So those are I resonate with that a lot, and I think, listen, never be ashamed of your sexuality, and also be the person you're meant to be. That's all you got to do.
Absolutely.
But one of the things you brought up, so as we're talking back and forth, I hadn't met you in person yet. We were just having this conversation. Is interesting to me because it aligns so much with where I'm at right now. And you wanted to talk about our community in itself, the queer community in Spokane, but honestly, it's at a larger scale of our community at all, really.
Right, sure.
And you wanted to talk about support, how we support each other, how we recognize our community, and so why didn't you tell me why that was so important that you connect with that?
Well, I think support in general, as humans, we need support. And we all look for support from different people at different times in our life. But it's important to make sure that the people that you're surrounding yourself with, whether that be in the queer community or not, that they're kind of going to the bank for you, your emotional bank, whether that's in your heart, and what you truly believe you are as you start to own your life. And I think
exactly.
I think for us in the LGBTQ community, sometimes it's hard for us to own our life. Yes. And we almost are, to a degree, programmed to not own our life, and then we are not our full selves. And I think it's important to look for that support in our community to help us, lead our life the way we want to lead it.
Exactly.
With, respect and integrity to everyone.
Well, and I think, what's so fascinating to me is studies have shown a bazillion times that an individual who does not have a good support system, so many things, so many negative things happen for that person. First of all, depression is a lot easier if there's nobody that it can relate to. Look at these kids who come out and they have a non-supportive family.
Right.
Even like that's the base level. I feel alone in this world. Everything is bigger because there's no one to talk to and to feel like you're seen. But that continues in life. If you're an adult and you don't feel like the things that you do in your life and the person that you are is supported, I mean, that's where you can fall down. That depression hole can also lead to a financial instability. That can also lead to mental disability. It can lead to so many things that in the end are bad for us and bad for society. And yet I feel like we still miss it. We still miss the mark.
We do.
So did you grow up here in Spokane?
I did. Yep. Born and raised in the Valley.
And now have you felt talk me through why would people look at you, and we all do this all the time, right? We assume things of people.
Absolutely.
If you're a funny guy like me, they just assume life is grand. You seem like you got it together. You have a successful career. Have you felt supported all through it, or have you felt like something's missing?
I have felt that I'm very self-made in my own right. I've had different, and everybody has problems.
Sure.
But I've had challenges to get me to where I am now, and I'm grateful for them. It shaped me to who I am,
Right.
To what I am today, which is I'm proud of. For us in the queer community, sometimes we're not proud of that, and again, that kind of goes back to my don't let something that is not accepted by all define you
Right.
in a negative light. So. I'm sorry, refresh me on your exact
And
question.
so,
How do I feel supported in this?
Yeah. Have you felt
community?
support, or have you felt like something missing as you've grown?
This answer may surprise you. I think we've all been victims of not having support in this community and other communities. LGBTQ has issues throughout the nation and world. But I always looked at myself as, maybe there are times where I wasn't as proud of myself as I should have been for being gay and queer. But I overall support, for the most part, I felt reasonably supported. But I also told myself, and it's a conscious effort I've done for years, to remind myself I will not be a victim of anything.
Right.
I will not be a victim of somebody who thinks I'm less because I'm not like them, or I have a different way of leading my life with who I love or who I'm with. And I promised myself, do not be a victim with somebody who has not your best interest at heart.
Right. So, well, that is a lesson that I think, talk about things that go beyond, not just with us, which is that allowing people's opinions that maybe we shouldn't allow. I will say, I come from my daddy was a Southern Baptist minister, so that is not something that I ascribe to now, but he would say things that I'm like, I'll think of him. I'll be like, oh, remember he was out, I don't even know where in the Bible it is, but he would say, don't throw your pearls before swine. And it's that same thing. Sure. Be careful who you trust.
Right.
Because that we learn shame, whether you're a child,
Absolutely.
Whether you grow up. And our culture is really good at being like, you're queer, so we're going to shame you. You're a drag queen, we're going to try to erase you. You're trans, we're going to try to murder you.
Your guilt, and I think guilt is a big thing too, which is, as you probably know from the religious community, I think guilt is a major thing. And it's a way, someone I was actually talking to fairly recently, which I resonated with me. It's like, guilt is a form of control by somebody who does not have your best interests at heart.
Because it's a manipulation.
It's a manipulation.
Because
exactly.
they're going to, they have a goal. We don't always see it, especially when we're stuck in that gaslighting, right? Mm-hmm. And their goal is they're going to use this tool to have you do what they need you to do.
That fits their mold.
Yeah.
And it's important, I think, for us as in the queer community to support each other in what our dreams are. For me, I've always wanted to be successful.
Yeah.
I grew up wanting to drive a Mercedes. I grew up wanting, that's just, that has been me.
But that's goals.
And that's for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
My people and other people in our community, that is not their goals. And you appreciate them just as much for that. Yeah. It's important to cast a very wide net on who you network with and support them in their goals. Whether that's even in a relationship, you need to be, whether you're gay or not.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. Like, it doesn't bother me if I'm dating somebody who is a much lower paying job than myself.
Right.
You have to kind of keep in mind that we all have our own goals and our own aspirations, and it's all about joy, really, and what brings you joy.
Exactly. Well, and what is that great quote that says, even comparison is the thief of joy. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at your friends or or seeing someone who has attained some of the goals, it doesn't mean you're less than. It means you're on two different journeys. And so there is a way, and so you stated it, and it kept coming to my mind. There is a way to celebrate. I'm known as the cheerleader, and sometimes people say that in a good way, and sometimes people are criticizing me, but I would much rather cheer people on, celebrate them. Because I think when we don't do that, it's our way of saying, I'm comparing, I'm mad at it, I'm mad that I'm not having that, so I need to tear that person down. And I think because in the queer community, culture has placed us in this less than category that seeps into our brains. And then it's I think of Mean Girls where they're at the mall and they show them like animals tearing each other apart. Listen, I've been to West Hollywood, and that's exactly what it's like there. If you don't fit, and I get it and I understand, and I'm not blaming or mad at you, but I say we can be better.
Absolutely.
We can be better than this, because we should celebrate you for knowing what you want and for
Right.
being able to achieve it. It doesn't mean you're perfect, and they need to stop seeing each other as what their perception is. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, I think sometimes we, in the queer community, are our own worst enemies.
Yes.
I don't want to say we're hypocrites, but in some
We
ways
can be.
we are. I mean, sometimes it's a double standard,
Right.
for sure.
I was like, I
but it's
definitely
like,
can be.
we all put each other in categories.
Yeah.
Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, or whatever your opinion is, I don't really care.
Right.
But I think we are our own worst victims sometimes.
Yeah,
And we're programmed in a way, sometimes, unfortunately, with society, and it's something that we can overcome. And there are many examples of it, and I think people do every day. We're programmed to feel not worthy of things.
yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're not worthy of that. You're gay.
Yeah.
You'll
never measure up.
You will never measure up. And I think when it comes to even dating, you start looking for things that you want to see in a partner, or qualities that you appreciate.
Yeah.
And then we're not worthy of it when we get it. And that's,
exactly.
for me, very heartbreaking when people feel that way. And I felt that way.
Yeah.
And I've people that have been in and out of my life I think feel that way. It's very crushing.
Oh, very. And I think human nature is to do, I think we just all over humanity, we operate at, there is a switch that's set. So if we don't ever do anything, it's set and it's low. We do a lot of things out of fear. Fear is a base instinct, and fear is the worst way
yes.
to. And you're in leadership. I always say, if you're a leader, don't lead out of your insecurities. We all have them, but the minute you lead from your insecurity, that's when things begin to fall apart. And I think it's the same way, in my opinion, when we choose partners, when we choose someone to date. We tend to go with, because it's a cliche. Oh, I'm going to find the qualities in them to fill the holes that I don't have. I don't think that's great. I don't think anybody should ever complete me. I think someone should enhance me. I want to enhance them. I want to encourage them to find.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you feel like there's a deficit in yourself, find someone who's going to cheer you on so you can grow those deficits into what you will feel. Because all of us have our own design,
and we're worthy of that. We're worthy of that positive, and I think is what you're saying, that positive energy. That we're worthy of the positive influence, and it's people I've known over the years, and I've been. I'm 30, so I mean I don't have all the experience.
That's such a baby.
Good, well, gosh, well, thank you. It's but it doesn't feel that way sometimes.
Right,
in
of
the
course not.
But
Yeah,
we,
well.
That's
trust
another
me.
topic. Maybe that's another radio show.
They've
for us.
already buried me, so I totally understand.
Dead and gone, buried, pushing daisies. Yes,
exactly.
No, that is not true.
No,
life actually opens up. I think so. I'm told.
Well, and the thing is, so what you're doing is what I hope. I feel like this is my Oprah interview, and I'm enjoying it very much.
Good. No,
I'm the gay
I'm here
Oprah.
for it.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier that it resonates as well, which is life is a choice. I have said till I'm blue in the face, we all, some of us have really, really bad childhoods. Some of us, but I know those people who they blame their life for the next 40 years on their childhood. And what I always say is when I turned 18, my life became my own.
Absolutely.
So therefore, it's my choice. What am I going to do with the shit that I have? It's my choice to be like, okay, I'm going to do something about it. And so what you talk about is choice. Life is a choice. It doesn't mean life is a choose your own adventure. It doesn't mean you're going to make this choice and then that gets you to level 2.
No, absolutely. Sometimes it takes you down to ground zero.
Exactly.
And I think another thing that I've told myself over the years and what has been very impactful for me, I've been lucky. I've had some very influential people in my life in the business community, whether they're on the very conservative side or the very left side. Really, I'm blessed because I've had such a wide net of people that I can resonate with. And people in the business community you know what, Ryan? As soon as you start owning your life, whatever that is, own your life, things will come to you, and you will find joy in what you do, and you'll find your purpose. And it's something I think us definitely in the queer community, that we need to remind, own your life.
Exactly.
Own your life and be a positive impact on people when you can.
Exactly.
Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're not positive.
Sometimes we're grumpy. Sometimes we've had a bad day.
And that's okay too.
Yeah. You don't say a word.
But it's
yes.
just own your life. It's such a simple statement. Own
We
your
s-
life, and usually
Exactly.
things will fall into place.
We like to
so.
say here on this show, name yourself. So you can let the world name you and say who you are, or you can stand up and say, this is my space. This is who I am. Even if you don't, we have a wonderful man. I like to tell his story, which is he wrote something for us. It was really well crafted. But he had never written before. So it was like someone had beat him down and he was not. And I said, he goes, well, don't call me a writer. I'm like, do you write? Yes. Okay. So we published you. Call yourself, name yourself.
Yes,
if you say
absolutely.
you're a writer, then say you're a writer.
Own it.
No one else cares.
You have to own it.
Yes, own it. And fuck anybody else that says you're not.
Right.
Because people who are trying to tear other people down, those opinions are not the ones we need to hold to our heart. So, and one of the things we were talking about before, speaking of all this, so we live in a specific community here because everybody has their microcosms of where they're at. So we can speak to the communities in our lives that we've been a part of. Currently, we're part of this. So I find that the queer community, I celebrate it because I think it's beautiful and I think it can be beautiful, but we fracture really easily. So, like, what do you think would help that any community? Listen, Spokane, I'm not hating on you. I love you, and the community's great. But if there is fractured pieces, what do you think helps those fractures?
I mean, it's a tough question. It's a very complex question.
Because if there was an answer, we wouldn't have this conversation.
I think what would help is more or less kind of what we spoke about. We need to look at our community for support, but we need to be willing to be supportive ourselves and be supportive of others. We need to, I guess, a Band-Aid for the fracture. I don't really know. I don't know the answer to the question, but it's a good
tough.
question.
I think if we had the answer, we wouldn't be talking about it. But I also think we can't, like, my fear always for the masses, for humanity, is just because we can't find the answer doesn't mean we need to just sit down and stop
do nothing,
looking.
yes.
Because it's still important. This world is a mess. And people don't come together. And yet we have seen throughout history what happens when a group, listen, when we were fighting for our own rights, boy, we congealed together and we fought for what was ours and we got it. And then we got complacent and it got a little easy to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. And a friend of mine once wrote me and said, because things have started going away, he's like, Jonathan, I thought we did this.
I
like,
thought this was over.
Right.
Yes.
I said, I know I don't want to get off the couch, but you know what? We don't have a choice.
Sure. Yeah.
And it is that coming together and taking pride in each other.
Sometimes we're not allowed to be comfortable. And then I also think that we, in the gay community, we're not used to comfort. We are not used to comfort, whether that's in dating, looking for partners. We're not used to comfort in our career. Sometimes it's just kind of always uncharted territory for us. Yeah. And when things become complacent, then we don't know what to do.
Exactly.
We don't know what the middle ground is.
Well, and don't you think, I think there becomes a moment like, let's say you have found a good group. Let's say you have a life that is fun. So, of course, we want to get caught in the celebration. And I never want us not to have that. But sometimes it's like, oh, this is going so great. Shh, don't say anything over there. Yes. And then and so I guess it's a more holistic is what I look at. I will say, like, we all have a moment in our lives where we feel other. Yes. Where something has made us feel other. Part of, I think it's a partnership. Part of that is our insecurities. Part of that is someone is doing something to make us look other. When I talk about visiting WeHo, I never felt at home in West Hollywood because it seemed, some of that was my insecurity. I don't look like this very stereotypical what gay men are supposed to look like. So I never felt at home there. But my best friend, he was of that world. But I could go to Palm Springs and it was my playground because it was just, I felt more accepted. I felt, but
you found almost you found, and whether it's good or bad, you found your category, and we're very good. I'm just going to say, unfortunately, we are very good at categorizing.
Oh, we're so good at it.
And it works in our detriment sometimes. And I think when we were chatting, I'd mentioned, it's like, it just came to me one night. I'm like, it's like a double-edged sword sometimes.
It is.
I mean, I've been called pretty. I've been called,
Yeah.
whatever, beautiful blue eyes. I have the
And there's
career.
nothing wrong with that.
And there's not. But at times because it doesn't fit into everybody's category, then you're vilified for fitting into
real.
one. Maybe.
Well, that's an interesting.
So it's a tough.
Yeah,
it's just
you would
hard.
mention something to that in one of our conversations, in this alluding to. Listen, even if you sometimes have what people think is, we talked about perception earlier. People have detrimental things as well. It's this.
Right.
Like people look at me and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sad for him." No, just
Okay.
kidding.
Oh, no, do not.
But the fact
but
is,
no, I get what you're saying.
challenges, and that it does, and it can be. If I were to look at you and I had no soul and I was very, I guess, non-self-actualized,
Sure. Yeah.
then people would
Vain.
be like, "Oh,
That's
yeah."
okay.
And people would be like, "Oh, well, he's WeHo gay," because in LA, that's what we would
Sure.
just categorize you at, and
Yes.
that meant just that phrase meant very specific things. Oh, well, the WeHo gay, so my community of bears and stuff. Well, then we know what comes with that.
So
The
yes,
same
and then you
thing goes the
automatically
other
think,
way.
well, not achievable by me if I did want to achieve him.
Yeah.
Or not relatable to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't live the same lifestyle I do.
Exactly.
Automatically, there's all these subcategories of, well, that's just not going to be a fit.
Exactly.
That is so
Limiting.
It's limiting and heartbreaking because I personally have gotten joy from casting such a wide net with my friend group here in Spokane, and we have some wonderful people here.
Yeah.
We have some great
And that's
advocates
the thing.
and just just good people.
Exactly.
And we're very blessed for that.
Yeah. Well, and I think honestly, I was talking to someone about Spokane earlier today, and I said, well, Spokane is interesting because you can get from Spokane what you give to Spokane. And that
Absolutely. Yes.
includes
Yeah.
people, that includes living here and enjoying what we have. But if you choose to see it one way, that's how you're going to take it.
It's how you limit yourself.
So I'm not sure. I do agree, blessed, but I'm also not sure that it's just because you live in Spokane. I think for some reason you've been able to cultivate this idea that it isn't. Well, first of all, we're not looking at someone and saying, like, I have friends of all ages and all walks of life and all, things.
Yes. You cast a wide net.
Yes, a wide net,
yeah.
because people are fascinating to me, and people deserve to be cheered on, and they deserve safe spaces to be vulnerable, and they deserve to have that space and understand where their boundaries are. Like, it's not over here, but it is over here. That should be what we provide for each other. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we will always need that at some point, whether you think you need it today or not. But I also, I stalk all my guests.
Okay.
You have a good, even the people you choose to keep an inner circle.
Yes.
I feel like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that you've cultivated that. You curated, these people are going to be who I give the most to.
I'm very careful about who I give my energy to, and it's a learned skill. I mean, truly, it's a learned skill.
Yeah.
Because there can be people that will just suck the energy right out of you. It's not that you have to hate that person after they are sucking the life out of you.
You just have to understand.
You don't understand.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just like, but you have to be careful for yourself. If you're not careful for yourself, you're not going to give the best to the people that do resonate with you and and are important and part of your life.
Exactly. There's an old, and you're in business, but also in life. So I'm sure you've heard Rockefeller, who talks about having your mastermind group.
Sure. Yes.
And really, it is the same concept for just your personal life. People, you give and you take, and you become the symbiotic relationship with these very important people. In business, it just helps you be better at business. Right. In life, it helps you to live a more rich life.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
It goes to your mental bank for sure.
Exactly.
And in turn, for me, like, I'm glad you brought up the people that you choose to give your energy to. That's what true joy is.
Yeah.
Success in a career is joyful. But joy is really sort of balancing the scales and having your cups full, if you will, in a very vast way.
And there are
wide variety.
What's balance, Kurt? I'm not sure I remember. You'll have to tell me later. But what's fascinating is I've been lucky enough. Kurt and I've been working on stuff even before I went to LA and come back. That just be aware of those. Like you were saying, just be very aware of who's around you. I'm
still learning. I think we're always learning, because sometimes
the day you're done learning, you're dead.
Yes, it's true.
And it's that ability to not limit the people based on stupid things. Like I have friends from in their 20s all the way to 60s, 70s, 80s, because it's not about the age to me. It's about how do I resonate with this person?
Absolutely.
Like how are we? And that has given me some of my most rewarding relationships. I think we started working with Spokane AIDS Network, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. And then there was this lovely lady named Gay Weiss. And her and her husband, I think Gay's in her 50s and Bob's in his 70s.
Okay.
But we became bonded. And I realized I could have easily said, well, I'm not this age. I have nothing. I'm not going to get anything from them.
Automatically assumed.
Yeah.
Or you could have automatically assumed, which, and I will say, we as gays are very bad at that. We judge the book.
Are you listening, gays?
By its cover. Yes, I'm not going to start scolding people.
But it's true.
We're all guilty of it.
True.
I'm guilty of it.
We are.
But it's, you chose not to judge the book by its cover.
Yeah.
It's for those that are judged, it's extremely hurtful because that person may have a lot to offer other than their beauty or their career or whatever it is.
I always offer my beauty, so you're welcome.
Well, yes, I mean, and as you should.
Right, exactly.
Yes, you have a lot to offer.
But that is the true statement of it all.
We have to, if we continue to judge the books by its cover, and what did you call it, the WeHo gays?
Yeah, the WeHo gays.
Or what is that?
I mean, I think they just had their reality TV, and it didn't go well.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
No, the WeHo gays. It's so just in LA how you categorize.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're put in a category, and you miss out on what. People. Yeah. Some of those people could have great qualities.
Exactly. Well, that alone was unfair for me to automatically categorize as WeHo gay or to automatically judge this whole community of people. That's on me because the truth is you steal the opportunity. Now, all you have to do is be smart and know, well, this person's a dick. And so you don't have to hang out. It has nothing to do with where they are, what they look like, all of it. It just happens to be they are.
Possesses those bad qualities.
Exactly.
And we all know them.
Exactly.
We all know people that are like that.
I know.
That.
I'll give you a list later.
That's right. Well, and the book. Yeah, the book's coming out.
No, exactly. The tell-all.
Yes.
But no, it's true. Yeah. We need to become. I keep having these conversations with people. I just had a conversation today about the self-respect that knowing. Having boundaries, being able to say no, and knowing the people that are good to have around you. Yes, that's okay.
Absolutely.
You are allowed to do that. It can make your life better. And saying no, when Abby Crawford was on, we talked about that. She made us practice saying the word no over and over again.
So it's hard to do sometimes.
It is hard to do.
Especially when you're in survival mode. As in the gay community, which oftentimes we are, and you all of a sudden have to please everybody, or you feel the need to, and it becomes very difficult.
And so you think, if I say no to this, then, and you have that catastrophic thinking, where you're like, then everything is over. One no ruined my life.
Yes, and then they're going to hate me, and they will not. And most, I mean, it's a big deal.
It's human, and it's the queer community. And here's the thing. So I already know. The letters we're going to get, and I love you all. But this is a human nature part of doing this, is having this conversation. I don't count it as, first of all, if I had people I trusted around me and they gave me constructive notes or whatever, I take those because it makes me a better person. Now, if you're coming at me because you just want to tear me apart, that's different. So it's okay that we are talking about the queer community. The one time... we can go at each other's throats. And the one time you're like, let's talk about the reality of this. And people are like, we love each other. You suck. Right. And it's like, oh.
No, it honestly, it's lived experience. If anybody wants to challenge it, it's lived experience. It sounds like your experience. It's my experience. And
let's talk about.
It's not based on nothing.
No.
I refuse to talk. And when I have an opinion about something, and I've got plenty. Yeah. But it's based in lived experience.
And it doesn't mean wanting something or someone to be better doesn't mean you don't believe in them or cherish them, right? I love, when I came out, I was in Wenatchee, and a lot smaller, like I said, Dad's a Baptist minister, and I was loud. It's the one thing that got me through. So I come out and I write an article for the newspaper and I come out. Coming to Spokane was my safe space?
Okay,
Was that
yeah.
place where I was like, oh my gosh, there's gay people everywhere.
You
And
found-
now
you
I'm
found
like,
relatable.
yeah.
It was things were
Now
relatable
I'm like,
to
where
you
are the
all of a
gay
sudden.
people? Because
Right.
what?
Sure.
No, it is
Yeah.
all in how we choose to live our life. But what I would like to encourage people is, so you're just 30, right?
Yes. I
And
turned 30
yet-
in October. So I'm a few months
That's
in.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
still great.
No,
30s
it's-
were my favorite decade. Love
Really?
it. Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Because
What-
if you're at a space where you are mentally,
Mm-hmm.
I learned so much and got so much out of my 30s because I was ready for it.
You were ready to absorb that and take it for what at face value.
Well, at 30 was the first time I was able to say, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. First time. Because in my 20s, I wanted to believe I knew everything. And that
you
moment
had an
where I
ego
was
is
like,
what you're saying.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that moment
Yeah.
where I was like, you know what, I don't. It taught me compassion. It taught me being open. It taught me to be open to the journey. So 30s were like, hey, here we are. This is great. And then you turn 40. We'll talk about that later. Everything is yours. And I don't care if you're 20, 30, 80, 100. Everything is always yours. You decide what you want to do with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You own your life. You make your life what you want it to be.
Exactly.
And we're all going to have obstacles in doing that, but
Yeah, but
Still,
that's life. Sadly, there's your common denominator. That's but what I want for the queer community is, first of all, we have many forces out there trying to tear us apart right now. What did we say? 367 new laws. It was only the beginning of March at that time that are set to take rights away from not only our trans brothers and sisters, but also our very rights as gay men that we fought and we thought we were good.
And by design. I mean,
Yeah.
think of what you want of government. They love to create a crisis.
Oh, for
they
real.
love to create
Listen,
a crisis.
it's like ratings. They
Yes,
are
it's
their
like, well, we're gonna cut this to shreds. Unfortunately, we're the victims of it.
They are their
We're a
own
victim
version of
it.
Hollywood. They
Yes.
are. They both work the same. Just one has more glitz than the
That's right.
other.
That's
Than
right.
the other has.
And some dress better than others.
I
too,
mean,
so,
true.
I mean, if we want to go into that.
I mean,
It's just-
let's talk. Let's talk style.
Let's talk style.
I
Okay,
wish Joan
done.
Rivers was
Deal.
still with us. That one. So how I get style is I just go have someone style me.
Yeah.
That works. So
Yes.
there's-
No. There you go. No.
there's always a way.
You know what? Okay. I will tell you. Here's my business tip for all
I like
of
this.
us. You know what? No. You need to know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And when you don't know something, you admit it to yourself and you hire someone who can do it. And that's
Exactly.
exactly how you're successful.
Yes.
You hire the pro. You move on to the next deal.
And that's how you build. Like we talk about what we do here. It's why poor Daniel still comes. I don't know what you still come back every week. We put
Are you tormented? You're tormented here.
What's so great is, our interns, we love them to death. They're on 6-month contracts. And the whole point is, what do you want to learn while you're here? What do we need you for? How do we merge these together? And then you have people that are glutton for punishment.
That's right.
And Daniel's like, I know my contract's up, but I kind of want to stick around. And I'm
That's-
like,
oh, that's exciting. Well,
bring in, Daniel's amazing. We already know, we call him our superstar. But so back to the thing real quick. The world is trying to tear us apart. So shouldn't we come together even harder
I
in
would
that?
sure think so. Yes.
Because what they want, if you can divide, the easiest way to win a war is divide its
divide and
people.
conquer.
Yeah,
Absolutely. For
make
sure.
them infight, which is
Yes.
what they try to do all the time. Powers that be, they.
Mm-hmm.
We need to want to come together. We
do.
need to find at least a little common ground. We're all not going to like each other, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to respect.
Absolutely.
everyone. You
You
know
need to
what I mean?
respect other opinions. Again, Kat, be sure to appreciate another person's opinion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because
and,
what
or
happens?
way of life,
Yes.
provided it's within parameters.
Everybody knows I talk about my racist coworker all the time. The most recent thing he comes to me about, he's very much a believer in the Great Divorce, which is something that a lot of people on Capitol Hill would like to see happen. And I guess something has passed the House in Oregon because we've talked about it for 30 years that they want to separate East Side
They
and
want
Seattle.
to redo the boundaries.
Yes.
And yes.
Because they think so differently. And so he's talking to me about how far they've come in Oregon. Eastern Oregon wants to join with Idaho and then all this.
Sure.
And they've passed it through the House. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm just going to say something crazy. Just crazy. How weird would it be if we just learned to live together.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah,
No,
if
absolutely.
we
Like,
understood that you're not going to think exactly like me, that's so weird, but we can still cohabitate.
we're worried about a border, a state border, for God's
Yes.
sake, and
Yeah.
that we have an actual.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, it's an imaginary. Okay, it's by law. Obviously, there's states,
Right.
But it's an imaginary border.
It
It's not
is.
real. I
It is. Thank
and
you.
we're all part of the same country and nation.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we live. We live in a nation with the best potential ever.
Oh,
We
right.
live in a nation
Potential,
with
that's-
potential.
yeah.
And that's what we need to remind ourselves.
And this great divorce idea,
like,
which is basically that idea of what Oregon wants to do, what people in
Sure.
our state have said. So it's taking that and just saying, why don't we put all the red people in these states and then all the blue people, and I don't know
Right.
where the purples go, but they're in
Oh,
there
well,
somewhere.
Maybe they have to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Like,
And then we saw, and I what's confusing to me is how do you take a country that is one big country, right?
Yes.
And then just decide, oh, we're going to put, because how does that help? First of all, we grow by challenging each other
Yes.
to think.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So listen, do I think maybe we don't need people trying to in Florida, they are trying to pass a new bill where they will do away with all Democrats and it'll just be Republican. And I'm like, but how does that help?
But that's not a democracy.
No.
So you can't be.
Thank you.
And I mean, this is going up. I'm no politician.
Listen, we're
and
everywhere.
I promise. I've told myself for
everywhere.
years. I'm like, oh my gosh,
I know,
do not
but
want to
it
get into
still
politics.
affects you,
It
right?
doesn't bring me
so
joy.
you still have an opinion.
I have an
Yeah.
opinion. It
Yeah.
does not bring me joy.
No, right.
Now, have I been inserted in political things? Yes, I have.
Right.
But it's, you have to. No, we're all in this together, and it's all part of. We all truly, I believe, we all have a common goal, and that's to find joy and prosperity in our life.
Yeah.
However that may look, it's different for everybody. But
Yeah, for sure.
But getting rid of the Democrats or getting rid of the Republicans in one area,
Or
and then
separating each
so now
other.
we live separately, and then everybody thinks the same. I mean, no,
Yeah.
that's not what America was built on.
When I feel like all we've ever wanted in the LGBT rights movement, all we've ever wanted is just to say, hey, let's live together and make sure everybody has the same rights. And then this is what my coworker will say, well, that's communism. No, it's not. There's a lot more nuance and detail to communism. We're
there's-
just saying
Yes.
no one is less than someone else. That's
Right.
not communism. That's being a
Exactly.
good human.
It's just being a person. Yes, you have to. Yeah, or
Just being
you're
a
an
person.
individual that is
Right?
not wanting to harm other people.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, that's
So I look
We
at
should all
that
be able
and
to
I
agree on
see
that,
that
but-
the world is always going to want to tear someone else apart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our job as grown ass adults to decide that that's not how we want to live.
sure.
So
Absolutely.
if I want to cheer this person on, why would you tear this cheerleader down? Because maybe you don't understand it, or maybe there's some things going on for you. When shouldn't we all listen? You don't have to be as loud as I am. You don't have to get the pom poms out. You don't have to wear the weird skirt on Fridays. I'm just saying.
Is that what you're doing? Is
Oh,
that your plan? I think
every
that's what we're
Friday.
talking about.
Every-
Okay. Well.
I love that both of my coworkers are like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like
Well,
Jonathan."
that sounds. Gosh, it's almost like. Well, I think I've thought of this.
I know,
before.
I know. It's like a kilt. Listen, I am very intrigued by kilts. Look at some of the pictures from the Red Ribbon Gala. I met some lovely kilted people.
Yes, I mean, I would never. I don't think I would look good in a quilt.
Right.
But I mean, I know my boundaries and limits. But I think.
Right.
But they look comfortable.
Don't
I mean,
they,
they're comfortable,
though?
Yeah.
Do you know? So I was.
They were wool. I would assume they were
yeah.
wool kilt. Maybe.
I would
I don't
think
know.
so.
I mean, it's a
I didn't get
nice
to feel them.
breathable
sadly,
fabric. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a nice pattern.
Yes, I didn't get to ask. Listen, side note, I did not get to ask those lovely husbands that I was talking to at the gala. I wanted to know if they were authentic or not.
Oh.
Yeah,
yes,
listen, nothing's
okay.
on under that. So
Gotcha. Sure.
I was looking
I
for a
didn't think of that.
Marilyn Monroe moment where all of a sudden there's a
Yes.
fan up, and I'm like, oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Listen, I'm always thinking for you guys. That would have been fun for everyone.
Sure. Yes. Well,
But in the end,
don't we all want a Marilyn Monroe moment?
don't
Though truly,
we? I mean-
I mean, come on. I mean,
Palm Springs. Sure,
yeah,
you've been there.
I actually, for the first time in November, I went down.
Isn't it just
and
the most amazing thing?
It actually was. I'm like, I'm not sure why I don't have a house here, and I don't know why I don't drive a convertible Porsche,
Yeah,
and this is
right?
where I want to live.
I love it so much. I
now I'm
am
here, and it's
tired
fine.
most of the time, but it's the only place that I'll go to Hunters, which is a bar downtown, because
yes.
it's so much fun.
I did go there one night. It was,
See?
yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
went-
cultural experience in a
It
good
is
way.
a cultural experience.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
and I bring it up because, of course, that gigantic statue of Marilyn
Yes.
in that very iconic scene. I wish that for everyone. But in the
Yes.
end, somebody else came out with a book. What's it called? Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot what it is. It's all about vulnerability. It's Defying Greatly is the name of the book by somebody Brown. I'm so sorry because I love you. I do.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. And it was this beginning of a conversation that happened about 10 years ago of understanding we need the people around us who allow us to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is probably the greatest power that we have. It is terrifying. I live my life out loud, and there are some times that I'm like, maybe I gotta read the.
No, absolutely.
But authenticity gives someone else, maybe that isn't as loud, permission to be truthful about what they're going through, which only makes us a stronger society.
I agree.
You know what I
That's
mean?
That's a good way to look at it. I think vulnerability, it's scary, like you just said. It's a
Terrifying.
fear-based
It's
vulnerability.
awful.
I mean, I do
Right.
not like to be, I do not like to be vulnerable. But it's something that we have to encounter
Yeah.
in order to advance ourselves in whatever direction
It's
we
true.
want to go.
It's the only way we identify those pieces that we're like, oh, because we all always have pieces to work on. And so it's that moment where you're like, oh, I'm vulnerable. I'm going to share this with someone. Someone can share an opinion back about what I just said. And then I'm like, well, fuck, now I have to do something about this. And I hate that.
Their vulnerability may make you feel bad because if they're being their authentic
Right.
self, it may not be what you want to hear.
Right.
Which is, another.
It's true, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it just kind of goes both ways, I think. And then you start to, I guess the hope might be to, and folks, I'm not a professional or in this, because I'm not good at being vulnerable.
Right.
But I would think after a while it starts to feel more natural.
But do you think, I'm asking anyways, I'm like, we're so off subject, but I don't care.
Oh.
Do you think though, because I think a lot of people, and for me, this was true for a long time, it was the person that I would consider my partner, my boyfriend, whatever he was, that it made our relationship stronger because I felt safe enough to show that side we don't show out to the world, right?
Sure.
Isn't that
absolutely.
what makes it?
I think that's our goal.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who wants a relationship or wants to be in a long-term relationship or whatever you'd like to call it. I think that's the goal, is to be your vulnerable self, and then you are complete in owning your life at that point.
Exactly. Well, I do want, I will challenge everybody who's listening to this. I try to be, all I can do is be better than I was yesterday. So I'm never going to be perfect, but can I please in this moment be better than I was yesterday? And it helps us to grow. But I want to challenge everybody to, it's easy. Listen, I get my moments of bitter. I get my moments of anger. I get my moments of hurt. So I want to take that person down because they hurt me. But I want to challenge all of us. How can we, especially if you're listening and you're in Spokane, how can we make Spokane better? How can we make our queer community kind of build it? How do we make it stronger?
What is it that we need to do? And I don't
Right.
know the answer. What is it that we need to do to make ourselves more comfortable?
Yeah.
And we all are kind of in this together.
Whether we
walk
like it
of
or
life
not.
you're from, we all are needed.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing to think about.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think, because I know when we were talking, you had mentioned that you think sometimes because you're successful, because you are a different bracket in financial or whatever, that you feel like you're not always given a fair shake?
No, I've seen it's kind of reverse discrimination in
Right,
a way, because now that you have and I have not, I'll call myself successful. That's fine. I don't necessarily
Do it.
believe
Name
that,
yourself.
but
Do it.
thank you.
Yes.
But I've done well. I've worked very hard for it. But I think I was not expecting the double-edged sword with that, to where you yearn for this, you want this, and it's kind of what our society tells us.
Yeah.
You need to be successful, but then you see the reverse discrimination of it. It's, I can't spend time with Ryan, or I'm not worthy of Ryan
So
because
due to
I'm not
insecurity,
matching his success, and that's the most heartbreaking of all. Honestly, that's the biggest heartbreak I've had.
Yeah. It's limiting everyone. It's taking away from you. It's taking away from them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if you do correct it, but
Right.
it kind of goes back to our original, talks when we started about, just being sure we're all seen and heard for who we are, and respecting them for that.
Exactly.
And, don't cut them down or cut yourself down thinking that you can't be
and
part
we
of
do,
someone.
you know, we've mentioned Hollywood and DC and all these things. And I will say we love, as a mass consuming society, we like simple. So we are like, well, I'm going to say this is your one note and I'm accepting you that. How dare you show me there's another note?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You should be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I had a conversation this morning with someone, and I just because I've been in media for 30 years, I grew up as a preacher's kid, so you're always told to watch what people see of you. Yeah. So I was talking to this person, and they were surprised. I had a real moment, I guess. And I was like, here's the thing I want you to understand. Yeah, I think in my weakness, I am strong. I think just because in this moment I'm not on and doing a show and entertaining you, it doesn't mean there aren't more pieces. And we need to be okay with that. We get mad at our celebrities when we see another side of them. Now, when we see a horrible side of them, that's different.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. But we need it to be, but yet we would get mad if anybody did that to ourselves. And
Absolutely.
so I think that's part of it. I think Spokane is great. I think I'm very lucky that I talk to a lot of community members in Spokane, give me an idea of what's going on.
You do very well with that.
There are moments. There are levels, and you can feel it when you talk to these people, and then you try to be the bridge. You try to be the I love everybody, and maybe look at it this way. But the fact is, Spokane, we can be amazing. Yes. We need to choose to be amazing. Queer people everywhere, because I know a lot of you from everywhere who listen, we all need to just be amazing. When you're online and someone is doing something and your first instinct is to put a snide comment, maybe don't.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Is that going to go? Yeah. What is the purpose of my comment?
You don't have to send them this great inspirational, you're so amazing. No. You can just not say anything.
Or don't say a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs to be, you always have to, have a purpose in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just have a purpose in what you do.
And we do
what
nothing.
You say.
Yep. We do nothing that does not serve us.
Right.
No matter every action we take, it is serving us in some way. You decide if that's serving you to feed the monster of being mean and ugly, or is it filling your soul with good things? Listen, call me whatever you want. The fact is, that's how I choose to live my life. Yes. And I do think it's a better way than to always be angry and tearing people. Because listen, just look at DC and you'll see what that can do to you. Trying to destroy people, what kind of a thing is that?
Oh, I know it's true evil in my opinion, and I will not call myself a biblical man. And even though I used lots of, I'm like, oh, it was a divine intervention. It was, I use all those type of buzzwords, biblical buzzwords. Right. But it's true. It's like, okay, you have the people with evil intentions, and sometimes things are divine interventions, good or bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
and divine is however you choose
divine
define it. For me, it's a beautiful drag queen that's no longer with us.
Divine, right? Well, there you go. Yes, of course.
But the truth is, we just need to it's choice. I think you said it at the beginning. I think that is really where it's at. Choose every day. Choose kindness, choose joy, choose being a cheerleader, choose love.
And you have to ask, I think we have to remind ourselves of it. I will literally be sitting in the car on my 0.2 mile drive sometimes, depending on the weather here. But it's been it's like, okay, what is going to bring me joy today?
Yes.
What's going to bring me joy? And if it doesn't bring me joy and I can help it, sometimes we have to do things that are not joyful.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's not going to bring me joy, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. And how is it going to make me a better human? I tell my brother, I talk to him every morning, and I say to him,
that's nice.
What I hope for us is that we allow ourselves to be surprised by moments of joy in this day, because days can get rough.
Yes.
So let us be open enough that we notice the little things that make us smile, because a lot of times those go by and we don't notice them, and that has a real effect on you.
Yes.
Because it's easy, for whatever reason, we are wired to notice the bad. Before the other. So you have to consciously choose.
It's like and I think for us in the gay community, we are always feel like we're on the cliff of, well, when is the shoe going to drop?
Oh my God.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, because we're not used to comfort.
Yeah.
We're not used to it. And we don't know what to do with it when we have it.
We're still trained to believe that at any moment, it's going to be taken from us.
He's going to break up with me, or he's going to, or my boss isn't going to let, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're always on that ledge of, well, this is too good to be true, or I don't deserve this.
Exactly. My dad, we always teased him when he was with us that he sadly taught us to wait for the other shoe to drop. Always.
Really? Yeah.
So you're always, but that's because that's what he was taught. And
Sure.
that's because see, we all have this history of the things we're taught. The only one that can break that chain and get is you. That's it. You're the only one that can break it. And but you know what it takes? It takes, for me, it takes surrounding myself by people who have those qualities, the qualities that wanted to be better. And then it'll help strengthen me and help bring me on. And listen, I want Oprah to listen to this. Listen, I call myself GoPra. It's gay Oprah. It's GoPra and the Gales. That's how we do it.
Very
Oprah,
good.
listen, we are following in your footsteps. These are important conversations. We mentioned earlier, I think what has been missed, what we have forgotten how is to have conversation. We have forgotten to have discourse and be like, I don't have to agree 100%. I enjoy the conversations where I do.
Sure.
Don't get
Well,
me
of
wrong.
course,
But
yes. We all like to be
Yeah, we
seen
don't-
by and around like
Oh,
minds.
for real.
I mean,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That
So-
brings us joy.
oh yeah, that's the people, the curated crew that you have in your life to give your brain the strength to go maybe
Yes.
have a conversation with your racist coworker and try to make an impact on that person.
Sure, of course.
I
yes.
mean, so like I said, there's your challenge. We've given it. We will mention it again on all the socials. That find something, one thing. It's not a big challenge. One thing every day to positively support our community, positively say something to maybe a queer community member that you wouldn't normally find yourself interacting with. I am grateful to the people that'll send me notes that we don't know our impact. We have
Right.
no idea. And when they're kind enough to say to you some nice things.
It feels so nice. It's
Exactly.
when you have just a genuine, no agenda compliment.
Exactly.
It is
and
great.
all you have to say back when they say something nice is just say thank you. Because, of course, my first thing this week was, I'm not that good.
Yes, sure.
No, I'm
Say
not
thank
going to
you
say
and
that.
Try and believe it. Try and
Exactly.
believe it.
So just say thank you. Find those secret joys. That's all I'm asking you to do. It'll change your complete. And if you do enough of those in a row, like you've done 30 days, then, maybe your outlook might change just a little bit. If you could sum up the point you really wanted to drive home for people, and you had to do it, like this is your last shot, what would you say?
I would say just be sure to see things from all perspectives. People are from all walks of life. And us in the gay community, we deal with challenges every day, just like a heterosexual couple or individual would.
Yeah.
But we do not need. I guess the one thing I truly want to say is, we don't need to be our own worst enemy. We do not need to be victims, and we do not. We do not need to create more challenges for ourselves.
True.
Let's support
Shoot ourselves in our
each
foot.
other,
Yeah.
and let's not be intimidated by each other, and let's just try and we have a lot of battles to fight. Truly,
There's a lot,
So-
and it's exhausting. So
It
we
is.
got it. We need our energy.
that would say in closing. Just
I
let's
like-
be the best we can be.
Those
As
are
cliche as
good.
that is, but
So here's a moment of vulnerability for you. See if you don't have to take
no.
it. There is no. I always tell people this: all choices, the value is what you give them, right? But I would say, what could a community give to you? What could a human being share with you that would help? Right.
that would help me.
Yeah.
I like to. It would be nice to be seen as equal, even when I may seem advanced or less than.
Yeah.
Depending on who you're dealing with. It's important to practice. We all want to be equal and treat me as an individual as an equal. And
Right.
a lot of people do. But sometimes you deal with people that
Yeah.
feel that you're not equal. And sometimes it's in our own queer community and sometimes not. But yeah,
Exactly.
it's nice to have that reinforcement. Everybody needs support, no matter how strong or confident they may appear. And a career has nothing to do with that, I will say.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. It's everybody needs that affirmation sometimes.
Yes,
So-
and it's true. So you know what? If we all live by kindness, I always say love is my religion. Then give that to each other. You see Ryan walking down the street, you say hi, you give him a smile.
Thank
That's
you.
okay.
And I would say hello back, and it would bring me joy.
Yeah. So if you feel insecure and you don't think Ryan would, just do it. And guess what? If someone doesn't, just keep walking.
Right.
It's very
Yes.
easy. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So I just want to say, you know me, I am the guy that annoys everybody with my sentimentality and my cheerleading, and I ain't going to stop. So thank you for always tuning into the show. Thank you for coming to the live events and to supporting your community in other ways. That means a lot to me, as weird as that might seem. That's what I want to be the normal. So I love you all. Remember, every Tuesday, you'll get the video and the audio versions of this, so you can either watch it at home in your robe or you can listen to it on the drive to work. You'll have to listen to it like for 8 days if it's that short of a drive.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yes, my point two commute.
Yes,
I
your
do
point
walk
two.
sometimes, everybody.
See, it happens.
Truly.
You
I can make
hike.
it.
If anybody follows you,
Yes,
you
I
hike
do.
with
No,
a beautiful person that I've known for a while.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
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 I stay very active, but it's fun.
That's smart. That's smart. I go on hikes, but mostly it's to, impress the guy I'm with or to run away from something. That happens to me a lot. I was attacked by moose. These things happen.
Oh, don't. Here in town.
It was,
Oh,
I was on
okay.
a beautiful hike and it was spring.
Moose are mean.
And there was,
Yeah.
and there was a baby.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, you're
Mama's
gonna,
mad.
yeah, mom's mad. You could die. It could happen
So-
in a moment. But I love you all. Thank you all. Please keep tuning in. You leave messages below. Say something nice. Say something nice, even if it's not on ours. Say something nice to someone, because like Santa Claus, I'll be watching. So until next time, everyone, we will see you in the airwaves. Bye.